Want to get into the discussion, and of course today we are looking at the role of forests in the food system conversation, especially the fact that they play a critical role, indeed crucial, in sustaining agricultural practices and ensuring food security worldwide. Now the background to that is the fact that large ecosystems provide essential resources, support diversity and contribute to the resilience of food production, and well, generally contribute to the well-being of very many aspects that are critical to ensuring that food security is indeed sustainable. Now, to get into that conversation with us in studio today, we have two guests. First off, of course, Beatrice Mbula, who is Deputy Chief Conservator of Forests, immediately next to me right here. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and of course, Francis Kamau, he is Director at Agril Africa. It is a company that focuses on high-value food seedlings and agricultural businesses, agricultural exports and exhibitions, right?
Yes.
So to start us off, I think just to sort of get an overview of the role that forests play into this ecosystem, we will start off with a sort of expert look at that. And I want to bring Beatrice into that conversation with a question. So when we say that forests are indeed critical to our continued sustainability around food production, what importance does this have in that entire ecosystem?
Thank you very much. Let me begin by telling you who we are, Kenya Forest Service. We are a state corporation mandated to manage and develop the forest resource in Kenya. We also do conservation of the forest resource and sustainably managing it to ensure that today we have the resource and our children and our children's children will find the resource for the benefits that forestry offers to humanity. We are managing a total of 5.2 million hectares of forest in the country. 2.6 million fall under the gazetted forest. And then 2.6 million are out there in the farms as community forests and private forests. Those are the three classes of forests that we have in Kenya: gazetted forests, which are public forests, and then we have community forests, and we have private forests.
Do these play an integrated role, or do you are you saying that there's a different sort of conversation around each one?
It's about the management. The gazetted forests, we manage them as Kenya Forest Service. The community forests are managed by the county governments in collaboration with the community. And the private forests, of course, they are privately owned, so they are managed privately. But we have a role to ensure that they are managed sustainably and to ensure that we give technical support for the development of these forests. We also build capacity around forest development and the implementation of the forestry functions by the counties.
So when we say that then these forests are critical in ensuring the continued sustainability of food systems, why is that the case?
Very, very important about forests. Let me start from the very basics. What do crops need to grow? They need water. They need fertile soil. They need the necessary suitable temperature for them to grow. If we talk about water, what role does a tree or forest have in provision of water for the agriculture sector? One, you cannot separate the rainfall patterns from the forest. When you think about the forest and think about the hydrological cycle or the water cycle, the rains fall and then the water evaporates back to the atmosphere to form clouds. What forests do is that they release water through their leaves to the atmosphere. We call it through the process of transpiration. And this is water together with water from the water bodies, together with water from the surfaces, goes up and contributes to formation of clouds, and it falls back as rainfall. That is one. Secondly, when this rainfall comes down, it finds a cover for the ground. And this cover helps so much in the infiltration of the water into the ground, into the underground water and aquifers, and releases this water slowly into our rivers and which flow through the farms. The farmer now has the opportunity to draw the water for irrigation and quality water, good quantities and good quality water from the forest. So that's how we support, that's how forests support agriculture, by playing a very important role in rainfall formation and cloud formation, and a very important role in controlling or regularization of how the water is released into the ecosystem.
I want to bring Francis into this conversation, and the fact of the matter is that fruit trees are trees like any other, and essentially the proper management of these can contribute to increased tree cover, first off, of course, and provide cash to farmers even at a very small level. Talk to us about what you do and how that can then contribute to the overall conversation of sustainability.
Okay, so first of all, to say what we normally do, Grill Africa is a private-based organization based in commercialization of high-value fruit tree seedlings and hosting of agribusiness expos across the country. So we can say fruit trees plays a very, very significant role, and that is the reason why as a Grill Africa we started revolutionization across the country. Fruit trees, just like we normally say, or we normally advise the farmers to integrate fruit trees in the ecosystem, because fruit trees, they play very many roles. One being they are source of income. So when the farmer is taking this care of this seedling, he's very sure that this seedling, after, like for example, if it's a high value hash avocado, he's very sure after 2 years he or she will start reaping some fruits from the trees. And another way is they are sustainable. They also have a lot of they are source of food. So if we said a booming market for the hash avocados currently, a fruit of hash avocado goes to around 20 shilling, and hash avocado seedling, after like 5 years, it has the potentiality to generate to around 500 fruits. So it means one fruit tree of hash avocado can be able to generate 10,000 annually. And by doing so, this motivates the farmers to plant a lot of the fruit trees, and by doing so, just like the indigenous trees, they increases the soil cover, and increases the government's target in terms of the agroforestation.
What sort of timelines are we looking at in terms of longevity? Because I know one of the critical conversations around conservation, and even when you start talking about carbon credits and that sort of thing, is the amount of time that this tree is going to exist and stay in the ground. Hence the focus on indigenous long life trees. What's the timelines for high value fruit tree seedlings?
Very good. So we normally check on, for example, when we talk of the high value fruit tree seedlings that Grill Africa focuses on, hash avocado, it has the capability, it has a long life of over 40 years. So when a farmer plants this fruit tree seedling, he has the highest assurance that this seedling is going to last for over 40 years. And we normally say they normally absorb a lot of carbon dioxide as per se, and but through this absorption of the carbon dioxide, it mitigates the climate change. There is no that global warming and what have you. So has that sustainability.
I want to bring Beatrice into the conversation, and Beatrice, the fact of the matter has been that for a long time, people in Kenya have lived side by side with forests, and we've seen forests that are centuries old, and they are there today. As we start to get into the conversation around commercialization, management, cash value and that sort of thing, how then do we balance conservation and benefit and management with local communities?
First of all, we have introduced the aspect of community participation. So the communities are participating in the management of forests, every aspect of it. Secondly, when we talk about commercialization,
yes,
we have plantation forests and indigenous forests. Out of the 2.6 million hectares of forests we are managing, we only have 135,000 hectares that are under plantation forestry. And this is what addresses the wood need for this country. The rest is under indigenous forests, which is purely for conservation purposes,
yes,
and for giving us the intangible benefits, like the providing habitat for the wildlife,
yes,
providing us with the water catchment areas, and providing us, ameliorating the climate.
yes.
I talked about temperatures when I talked about agriculture. You'll find that the areas around forest are much cooler than areas without forest.
Yes.
And this will help the plants that and the farms that are around the forest. About the soil, the nutrient cycle. They bring up the nutrients that are deep into the soil, up into their leaves, and when the leaves fall, they return the nutrients to their ground. So yes, our communities are participating, especially the forest adjacent communities. They come together and form community forest associations, and these together we do a forest management plan which the communities implement. Yes.
And then let's talk about the fact that for a lot of farmers, trees are an integral part of their homesteads. Trees are an integral part of fencing,
Yes.
Demarcation, that sort of thing. What sort of role then does the KFS play in getting people to select the right trees for the right areas, create farmer education and sensitization, so that, for example, the targets that we've set for planting and maintaining trees are met sustainably?
Yeah. We normally organize for tree planting campaigns, and it is in these campaigns that we pass the information,
yes,
to the public. We also have extension agents. We have foresters whom you can visit and talk to. We have sessions like this,
yes,
when you are able to talk to the public about tree planting. So in the tree planting campaigns, we create awareness. We also have a college in
yes,
Kenya Forests called Kenya Forest College at Londiani, where you can send the members of the communities can go there and learn. We can tailor-make courses for them on different aspects of tree growing.
Yes.
Yes.
Paul, Francis, one of the interesting things I've seen is that there has been a move to start commercialization of wood, for example, for things like smoking when it comes to cooking food and that sort of thing. And a lot of these are fruit trees. What sort of linkages are there between fruit trees and commercial wood production, even hardwoods there? Because if it lasts 40 years, by then that's a big tree and can be used as wood later on. Does that come into the conversation?
Yeah, good. So when we come to, as we said about the roles and sustainability of the fruit trees,
yes,
there are those management practices. So for this avocado, when you planted it, it needs a lot of management practices along the way for it to have that lifespan of maximum productivity. So at times you do a lot of pruning, and you understand fruits like stuff like the avocado trees. They have a lot of branches.
yes,
So per year you will find that the farmers, they do a lot of pruning, and they get firewood, which is used in even in cooking,
yes,
in lighting, and other fueling activities. Yes.
Talk to us about one major concern that has been raised about what they call it monoculture or monocropping, the fact that as we start to commercialize trees in terms of fruits and that sort of thing, you then see trees of the same type being planted in one area, and this might reduce habitat for not just things like insects but also wildlife and that sort of thing. Is that a concern? How do you then mitigate that as we encourage people to get into larger and larger amounts of production of fruits and using those trees?
Very good. So in that question about mitigating or cushioning that scenario whereby monoculture is practiced, we normally hold a lot of training platforms, them including the agricultural expos. And as we started, we talked about we do hold agricultural expos across the country.
Yes.
And per year we hold over 12. We hold at least 12 expos across the country. And in each expo we talked of we have strategic measures that we embrace to achieve, to ensure that in each and every expo we issue not less than, we sell and we provide the farmers with not less than 4,000 high value fruit tree seedlings. Not forgetting we are also in a bamboo value addition. So the fruit trees and the bamboo seedlings. So in total per year we have a record of 48,000 high value and bamboo seedlings issued to the farmers. So in these platforms we normally create awareness to the farmers that you don't plant just a single crop, because in some scenarios one crop may fail, then the other succeeds. So but if you are practicing a monoculture, it means if this fails you are done. And probably we understand fruit trees is a very, very capital intensive business. And per the current perception, people think it's a business for the old people. So you find that to try to cushion those people who are probably going for a retirement, depression and what have you, we tell them, like for example an hash avocado, we tell them to eat a crop with fruit trees like the pawpaws, because they are not in the same family. And if you look the production cycle for the hash avocado, it is 2 years for it to start bearing the fruits. But for the life productivity period of over 40 years. When you check for the pawpaws, the production life, it is 5 years. And the spacing, because it doesn't have a lot of branches, it is 5 years, and like the spacing is around 2.5 meters by 2.5 meters, and for the hash avocado is around 6 meters. So you have the opportunity to plant the pawpaws along the row. After 5 years, when the avocado will be forming a very significant canopy, now you'll have a chance to eliminate that pawpaws. We have seen this working excellently in very many areas, including the Rakanidi County, the parts of the Raka, and parts of Isiolo, within the Isiolo town, and also in some other parts of Meru, including the Garendare, the Mailisaba, the Ruiri, and many other areas. So in terms of the monoculture, that's how we are trying to address and cushion people to diversify. We'll come back to you to talk about commercialization and essentially going to market. But first I want Beatrice to answer the same question, monoculture, and the fact that even from colonial times we'd see that trees were planted that were thought to be fast growing, easy to commercialize, that sort of thing, at the expense of other sorts of things. How then do we introduce sustainability into this conversation, such that we introduce trees that have benefits on both sides?
Only area we can talk about monoculture is when you're talking about plantations. And this is just how they have to be, just like the way you grow maize. You grow cypress on its own, because if you intercrop with another species, maybe it grows faster and it will shade the other species. Just for the sake of producing the products you want, if you want wood, very good wood, you have to grow the cypress, space it in the desired, we give it the desired spacing, and pine on its own and blue gum on its own. Blue gum grows very fast. So if you and then it has characteristics that interfere with the other trees. If you plant blue gum with another crop or with another tree, it will grow fast and shade it. Secondly, it produces some chemical that hinders the growth of other vegetation below it. So it's good to put them alone. But when it comes to the indigenous or the natural forest, we have all manner of species. The more the species, the better for the ecosystem, because we know about the food chains. The more The more species we have there,
yes, the
of
more
plants,
diversity, yes.
yeah, the more species of animals we have there, the more stable the ecosystem is, and the better for us. So that is it. In the indigenous forest, we have a mix of all manner of species, but in the plantation forest, we have to maintain them as plantations for production of wood and fuel wood. Okay. And poles, yeah.
Francis, a lot of people have gotten into fruit farming, but then there's the issues of going to market, finding good market, sustainability. We see people get into projects and then say prices are low. Recently, we saw the issues around macadamia and things like that, where even government is forced to come in to sort of regulate prices. How do farmers then contend with these sorts of things to ensure sustainability? Because if you want to get into a project, invest your capital, you want sort of predictability in terms of your project.
So that is about the question of farmers ensuring that there is that continuation of sustainability into the terms of the prices.
Yes.
We do, earlier on in the previous response, we talked about diversification.
Yes.
Sometimes these market trends in terms of prices fluctuations, they are somehow unpredictable, affected or as a result of some different factors, the government and what have you. So that is the reason why we talked about always ensuring we do mixed farming, crop diversification, or what have you, to ensure in the long run there is that sustainability in terms of you don't fall short of the prices. Yeah.
I want to start winding up, and the question I have for you, Beatrice, is there are lots of people who want to get into a space where they start planting trees in their spaces. Some have space that can be turned into private forests and that sort of thing. Where do we start, and how do we then start to get advice, get the right seeds, get consultations about soil and what works for you in specific places? Is there capacity at KFS to advise people on that sort of thing?
Yes, we have capacity at Kenya Forest Service to advise individuals on tree growing. We have our officers in all the 47 counties.
Yes.
We have officers at the county level, and we have foresters at the sub-county levels, and we also have forest stations in the sub-counties at the station level, yes. At the local level. So these foresters are available for any technical advice. They'll even come and give you some professional advice. About seeds, we have our sister organization, Kenya Forestry Research Institute, that deals with the provision of good certified seed. So our farmers can get seed from there. But the demand for seed is so high that KEFRI cannot meet. So we also train our farmers and individuals on how to collect good seed, how to identify a good, we call them mother trees, where they can collect the seeds from, or even the wildlings. Sometimes you don't need to even grow trees from the seed. You can go down below the trees, the good quality trees, and pick the wildlings that are coming up and nurture them on your own. Other advice about, how you're going to space these trees, which is the right species for your place, what is the best time to plant your trees, what size of hole do you need for your tree. Yeah, we are able to advise on that because we have the capacity right to the local level. Yes.
Thank you. Francis, I want to close with you. And the main concern that I have is loss of local varieties, especially when we start to introduce the hybrids and the foreign sort of crops because of the high value. You'll find that for a lot of people, they enjoy the local avocados. I'm sure you know the purple ones, while the other markets want the small green ones. But if the bees have their way, I mean, over time the intercropping will ensure that this cross-pollination happens. Is there a danger of us losing our local varieties? And how do we mitigate that?
So we can talk of about losing our indigenous varieties. We can talk of when we talked of these platforms of advising the farmers.
Yes.
we can say yes, there is no very big chances, because currently we have a lot of sectors that are involved in the space of those floriculture, the fruit trees aspects and what have you. So we can say farmers are somehow aware to take care or caution about the losing value of the indigenous, the indigenous or the local varieties.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to give each of you then just 30 seconds to sort of close for us, and I'll start with you, Beatrice. Essentially, out of this conversation, if there was one thing that you would feel that we sort of need to get right when we talk about this, what would that be?
Yeah, I would say that forests play a very key role in agriculture, and we need to maintain our forests. We need to even have increase our forest cover. Right now, our forest cover is at about 8%, and the tree cover is at 12%. So we need to increase the tree and forest cover for improvement of our water sources, for improvement of our soils, and for the regularization of our temperatures. You know, our temperatures are going so high today because of climate change.
Yes.
We are having extreme weather conditions, either very cold or very hot. We are having extreme weather events, too much rain, prolonged droughts. But one of the ways we can mitigate climate change is to increase the forest cover and the tree cover. And we can make it. We have a target of doing 15 billion trees by 2032. And that will increase our forest cover from what we have now, our tree cover from 12% to 30%. And if we do that, and we can all do it, because if each Kenyan does it, you cannot do it alone. If each Kenyan plants a tree, 30 trees, then by 2030, every year, if we do 30 trees every year, by 2030, we'll be able to get there, and we'll have a better country to live in.
Francis, I want you to hold your horses. Essentially, we want to go on a short break, but when we come back, of course, we'll be giving Francis his chance at giving us what his thoughts are, plus, of course, the remaining conversation on this, panel. But before that, let's just take that 2 minutes to go on a short break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.